What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Survivor Now podcast. And today I am joined by a wonderful guest. He has the nicest teeth on the island. He spent the most money ever for a toothbrush and toothpaste. And he is our 10th runner up. You might know him as Lee. Lee, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, man?
Hi, Randy. How are you? Thank you very much for having me on the show. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan and I'm doing very well. How are you?
I am doing terrific. It's always like an honor every week to be able to speak with you guys about your experience. Plus, by the way, you're from Ireland, correct?
Yeah.
I went out there. That's the one European like country I've been to. Love it out there. And
Good.
we're going to get into the competitiveness and everything, but I'm like, it doesn't shock me. They are very competitive in Ireland. Like, I know that's a fact.
All right, whether it's drinking, whether it's fighting, we want to be the best at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and hey, 9 times out of 10, you guys are the best at it. You know what you're doing out there.
Exactly.
But before we get to the game, I kind of just want to get an understanding about how you feel after watching the episode this past weekend. Because not only do you get to sit back and watch the entire season play out through kind of the eyes of an audience member, now that you're back at home, kind of you've taken everything in. But it's different when you get to your elimination episode and you're watching that one. So who did you watch it with? How did you enjoy it? And how did it feel to watch that back?
I watched the exit interview or the exit episode with my girlfriend Jen, and honestly, we couldn't stop laughing. It was hashtag entertainment, and I kind of know going into that tribal council on the day that like if I'm leaving with a bang here. So I want something for people to remember me by, and I think I did a little bit of that.
No, you absolutely knocked it out of the park. Before we get into that tribal, I just have to ask, did your girlfriend, did she give you some trash talk all season? Be like, Lee, why'd you do this? Lee, why'd you do that? How invested was she in this?
She absolutely loved the show, but like a lot of it, she was like, "They're really making you to hate women here. Like, what's going on?" She's like, me, your nana, your sisters, we're not gonna be happy about this. And I'm like, but she's like, that's not you. Like that, like from how it looks, that's not me in real life. So I'm like, it was hilarious because you're looking at it from the perspective of a viewer, as you were saying. So I think it was just like comedic. A lot of it, like, was fun to watch.
Well, that's the thing. I have to remind everyone, like, if you guys are watching this, like, you have who you are out there when you're starving and you're tired, and it's all a game, and that you
Yeah.
can't judge someone based off the edit. Basically, I think there was like episode 2 when we were covering it, the season as a whole. We were talking as podcasters, and we're like, man, Lee's talking a lot of trash and everything. Man, he's kind
Yeah.
of like made out to be the villain out there. But it was all fun and games. Like, we know outside of the game, you have to be a chill dude and everything.
Completely. As a professional athlete, I'm gonna be super competitive. I'm gonna be very performance based, and I didn't want to judge nobody by like sneakiness or tactics or this. I was just like, whoever does the worst at today's challenge, I'm voting for. So I don't really care. But as the edit shows, me as a bad guy, there's a reason why I didn't have any votes against my name until I was sent off the island. Is because I was actually a chill dude, and it just they picked out the 10 minutes out of the 24 hours a day where I went a little bit crazy.
I mean, you got to think about it. If you're going into a very competitive game where there's challenges, it's very simple to look at it. Look, whoever doesn't perform well, you're going home. It makes it easy. We don't have to make enemies that way. Let's get into the episode that you went home and the strategy time, that tribal council. So we
Yeah.
saw that you had a very massive target on your back pretty much all season. Your name would come up and be like, we got to get Lee out eventually. And as soon as everyone came together, it was like number one target, get Lee out. It had to be because of how good you would have been in challenges. And also the fact that you were kind of the head of the Lani tribe in a way. So did you feel how massive that target was on your back before going to tribal council? Did you know you were in danger?
Yeah, right before tribal council, when Hannah taught me that like they're all gunning for you. But before that, when I was doing the challenge that day, I was literally so chill. My balance is phenomenal. I could have stayed there for 24 hours on one leg, no problem. But I was like chilling. I was slagging around with Joel. I was having fun. Everything was like cushy. And I was like, I actually don't want to win this challenge because I don't want a big ring around my neck that's like bought him out next. So I was totally passive with it all. And it wasn't until I was having my rice and beans and I looked at Hannah, and Hannah was like, "They're voting you." I was like, "What?" And then it was, and then it's like, "All right, get ready. We're going to tribal council." I was like, "Oh my God, not even enough time to scramble. What am I gonna do here?"
How confident were you going into tribal council? Because obviously you guys had your plan. Were you fairly confident that that was the plan that was going to go through? And if you weren't, who were you kind of nervous about on your side, your alliance of like, I don't know if I can really trust them in the end?
So like I said it to like Doug, Lawrence, Matthew. I know that Hannah and Peg were with me. Like that there's not like they're people after my own heart. Like what you see is what you get. The loyalty is real. So I knew with them, that was it. But with newfound relationships with Matthew, I also said it to Tanuka, but I'd seen her and Ashley getting on really well. So I'm like, oh, that thought's probably gone. And with Nathan and stuff like that, I knew that whatever Tanuka is gonna do, Nathan's gonna do. So I had it all really planned out. So I'm like, damn, the King's gotta go tonight. So let me just go with a bang.
Hey, the best always go out with the blind side. I will say that. We have to get, I know everyone wants me to ask about the discussion that happened at Tribal, and I'm going to ask it in this way. So, how the discussion between you, Ashley, and Chris, how did that get started? Was it just the feeling of betrayal, the lack of trust, the fact that they were kind of playing both sides, or was it like a last ditch effort? We've seen this in Survivor before, where it's like, I know I'm going out. I'm going to, like you said earlier, I'm going to go out swinging. I'm going to try to throw them under the bus so they're the ones that go home, and I'm not sitting on that jury bench tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it was just all emotion. The whole lot of it was emotion. Like, I knew I was gonna go, but like I also didn't want anyone to vote me off a fake rumor or something that somebody else made up. So I'm just gonna put it all out there with emotion, and whatever happens from that happens from that. So it is what it is. And yeah, I definitely got my emotion out there. There wasn't much thought process behind it at all. Obviously the insult airhead Barbie was a clear Barbie description, but we won't say the airhead. And with the curly Chris, it's a dude. His name is Chris. He's got curly hair. It's very kindergartenish, but yeah, I'm throwing it out there,
I
Keeping it
remind
too.
I remind everyone there's a lot of people. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that. And Lee's on no sleep out there. He's got nothing in his belly pretty much. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't blame you one bit. Stuff's going to be said in the game. Your game was in such a good position, I feel like, until there was a major swap that took place. And that's when we saw kind of the trade of a few players going from Lanina to Catin and then Catin to Lanina. How big of a loss was it when you lost Pegleg and Doug to Catin? How did that change your gameplay and how you looked at it going ahead?
It was massive to my gameplay because not only were they gone from my alliance, but I wanted to also keep them safe while in a different tribe. So everything from there, that's when gameplay actually started for me, and I started like,
Yep.
trying to plan out the future for this. I'm like, if we get rid of Lani, they're gonna get rid of a Lenana member. So all right, we're gonna have to use a sacrificial lamb. And then when I get the challenge, I'm gonna explain to Nate, like, look what we did for ye, you do it back for me. And like I had all these plans, and then Chris and Ashley were in their own little alliance, while Chris was like with me back and
Yeah, it
forth.
was a weird situation. It was like a weird dynamic.
It was to be fair. And like yeah, and like me and Chris were getting on so well throughout, like, and he was definitely, me and him were definitely on the same page for 90% of the time. And then obviously when he started taking things into his own hands, like being a one-man army and failing at these challenges and stuff like that, it was kind of like it was very childish. So I think it was like fair for me to pull him on it. But obviously sometimes in Survivor, a game of betrayal, outwitting, doing stuff behind people's backs, coming straight to somebody's face and telling them how you feel is probably the way to get a target on your back.
And how the edit likes to portray things. That's the 1% we saw, or the 10%, excuse
Yeah.
me. You said 90% of the time we got along. The 10% we saw was that
Yeah.
massive blow up. between you two. Did that like kind of go on the rest of the day, or was it just a sudden, quick, 5-10 minute thing, and then you guys were back to business a few minutes later?
It was so quick, and even like when Lani was going on about the pillow scene and stuff like that beforehand, me and Chris were talking well, and Chris was like, "Lilani's saying this behind your back," and I'm hearing Lani say like these things behind your back, and I'm just like plamassing her, but I'm still with you, and I'm gonna bring it back to you and let you know everything. And I was like, cool. So that's why when Chris was like, "Hey, do you think I could get the pillow?" I was joking back. I was like, "Of course you can have the pillow, Chris," because I knew I preempted it. Like we knew like what was going on. And then it just looks like I'm the bad guy against everybody, but I was aware of everything going on. Like, listen, the leader of Lenina knows what's going on. You know what I mean?
It's nothing but pillow talk at the Lanina tribe. I'm gonna put it
Complete
like that.
lack of sleep, rice and beans, and pillow talk.
Oh my gosh. See, I felt like the Lanina tribe throughout the entirety of the season was like the party tribe. But another thing you had to navigate, not only did you lose Pegleg and Doug, but you also had to navigate new members coming in from Catin. So
Yeah.
you had Tanuke, who we found out, you said it, you were never going to write her name down or didn't have
No.
plans to. And then you also had Matthew. And then Leilani coming in earlier in the season. I can't imagine what that felt like to be middle of the night and you just have a stranger. I would be scared to death. Like,
Yeah.
okay, let's just talk about that for a quick second. What was that feeling like? Because I feel like if I hear someone walking up, I'm just going to jump and be terrified.
Yeah. I thought it was like, I thought it was producers like, "Yo, tribal council, no, 3 a.m." I was like, "What's going on?" So I remember I was asleep, and then I got touched, and then I turned around, and then it was Lilani. He was like, "Hi," and then I just said, "What the f?" like loud, and then I just everyone else started talking, so I was like, I'm gonna leave them talk. So I just went back to sleep, and then eventually they were like, "Hey, let's just figure it out in the morning." So then Lilani couldn't get into the bed, so I ended up helping her into the bed, and we fell asleep. And the next day, I was just like, you really seen like Chris scrambling with Lilani to make friends and stuff like that. And I was chilling. I was just like, as Peg said throughout, like that. This kind of like has as like a swing vote or a sacrificial lamb, because if we're gonna stay Lilena strong, you know.
Yeah, I feel like that's the right way to do it is when someone comes in, let's not talk at 2 in the morning or whatever time it is. Let's just go back to bed and we'll deal with this in the morning. But did you ever have a plan to work with the Catin members? Because a lot of the times this season, we heard a lot about tribe unity. We're going to keep our tribe strong moving forward. We need to make sure we have the numbers going to the merge. Did it ever cross your mind to, hey, I can go work with Catin, maybe bring Hannah along with me? Or was it always going to be Lanina strong? We have to stick to Lanina.
So I think like as an athlete, I respected the hell out of everyone from Calaton, and like we're all battling the same way, so I have that like mutual respect for them, and was excited to get to know them more personally when we were kind of when the merge was going to happen, and couldn't wait to like build a friendship and just see what they were about and work with them. But I think when it came down to it, I was never ever going to write Hannah's name or Peg's name, so they were going to be with me until the very end. Chris and Ashley were doing their own thing. I gave Chris my word early on in the game after he said, "Lee, I will never write your name down." So I went, "Bro," I said, my word is iron. I said, "So I will never write your name down." So as angry as I got and as easy as it probably could have been to sway people into a Chris vote rather than an Ashley vote, I couldn't do it because I already told them I'd never write his name down. So that's the only reason I voted Ashley instead of Chris.
No, it was definitely an interesting dynamic all season long between Chris, Ashley, that side, and then I felt like there was you and Hannah, which was like your side, and it was
Yeah.
these two duos trying to work together, but in the end, they're like, well, we got to make the first move against them. So
Yeah.
definitely fun to watch. A big moment that stuck out to me this season, it still sticks with me as my favorite moment of the season, is when you guys got your letters from home. I felt like that is when we really got to connect with everyone, and you have a beautiful but devastating story that we got to hear and connect with you about. So walk us through what that was like, getting the letters on the island. I believe, don't quote me on this, it was around day 16, around there, 17, I think.
Could have been.
So did that give you the extra boost you need going forward?
Yeah, definitely, and just kind of really put into perspective what you were doing here. You know, you're out here, you're really suffering, you're really away from all exterior stuff. You're away from technology, you're away from family, friends, loved ones, girlfriend, the hustle and bustle of real life. How blessed you are in that sense to like be in a place where you can be totally present, but also how much all these people back home mean to you. You know, it was never like, oh, this is what I'm doing and I need to go and win the 100 grand. No, it was more like, this is an experience of the life, and I really miss home, but I really need to get the most that I can out of this experience. So yeah, to get that letter from my girlfriend, to see the picture of me and her, me and my mother, just get to speak on it. Obviously, the producers ask you the right questions to get
Mhm.
really the most out of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it was a powerful day, and I haven't cried in probably 5 or 6 years before that day. So to be able to just like get it out, I went back to the tribe members. I was like, I just cried and it was amazing. And they're all, that's unreal. So yeah,
it's
what a day.
It's a really touching story, and I still love it because people like you and Nathan, we see these big, strong guys compete hard in
Mm.
challenges, kind of, a rougher exterior, but then in those moments we get to see, you've gone through a lot of stuff in your life. I want to know, going into the game of Survivor, have you seen much Survivor going into it, or was this all brand new to you?
So like as I was saying before, when I was doing the auditions, like when I was doing the auditions, I never seen Survivor, and as the auditions were going on, I was like, this could be happening. I'd start going onto YouTube and I'd watch like random episodes. So I'd watch like
Mm.
season 7, episode 5, and then it would jump to season 2, episode 3. So I seen people suffering and being hungry and do cool challenges, but I never really got to understand what the gameplay and the manipulation, the sneakiness was. So what, like, so all of that stuff I was really figuring out in real time, like when I was on the island.
What was the most difficult thing while you were out there? Was it the surviving? Was it like the lying? What, the deceit? What was the most difficult thing?
Honestly, if you had to say like, all right, this is Survivor and it's a game where you all go onto this island and the last person to be alive wins, I would win. I feel like I'd win. I'd outlast and just survive. But it's definitely the being in a great emotional suffering relationship where you're talking about closeness and life and everything with this person, and you're speaking about moving forward, and did that person the very next day to be doing something that's anti you is like,
Mm.
man, like I have very small circles in my life because I'm very much loyalty driven and very much productive in performance in life and in love. I have my 3 sisters, I have my grandmother, I have my girlfriend, and I have like 2 mates, and we just stick close. So that sneakiness and stuff like that, it was like, it was tough to swallow for sure. You know what I mean?
Like going through a breakup almost every single day. It's like, yo, we super tight. And then the very next day, they're like, I don't even know who you are. I want you out of here. No, it's got to be incredibly
honestly,
tough.
honestly, you wake up in the morning and you're like, I might never see that person again, even though we just spoke about like having a pint in Manchester or going here and having this. Like, you might never see them again. It's crazy.
It has to drive you crazy. I have a few more minutes here for a couple of questions, and we'll get
Yeah.
to the last question here in a second, which we ask every single castaway we talk to. But I just want to spend a quick minute on the challenges because, okay,
Mm.
first off, we saw the strategy for the water relay challenge. Obviously, it didn't work out for Lanina. And then the other thing is, you are someone I wouldn't want to step into a ring with because you're a professional fighter. It seems like Shy was ready to take you on every single time. So walk me through how the challenges compared to like the professional fighting world, and which challenge was the toughest that you just never want to do again.
Yeah, I suppose it's very similar to that fighting thing. You know that it's coming. You wake up that morning, you have them butterflies. You're like, something big's gonna happen today. You have to go get prepped, get ready, get in the mind frame, and really like get ready to like push it, because at the end of the day, when you have such little calories in your body, whether it's running in the water or whether it's like swimming or whether it's climbing, the energy that you have is all of your energy, so it's maximum energy. So like, yeah, it's very much that kind of fight or flight experience. And me and Shy, yeah, we were definitely from the beginning, it was kind of like Doug said, I'll give a crack at Nathan. And I was like, yeah, I'll give a crack at Shy. So straight from there, the first challenge, we took him on. And then me and Doug were back like, yeah, no, this is how it's going to go from there. Like, we're going to carry the tribe and we're going to smash the strongest on their team and stuff. And then moving out from that, Ren was such a great strategic, because they had seen so many survivors previous that when a challenge was there, Ren would see it and they'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen this one before. I think this is the best strategy and stuff like that. And then when that and then a challenge that I'd never want to do again is that relay in the water challenge. 1,000,000%, never ever, because the team was like, we were like, yeah, we'll take it. We'll just go as long as we can go. And then people was like, what about if everyone drops off and then you take 2 each and just sprint and catch them? And I was kind of like, if you think, whatever you think, I'm a team player, whatever you think, no problem. It wasn't until I put the 2 bags on me and started moving forward that this was a terrible idea, I gave my all that day.
It might have been the right strategy if people didn't drop out so fast. So I'll give you guys credit there. It might have been a little too fast. But to wrap us up here, El Champo, I have to call you that at least once. You have it there. Is it Champo or Champo? It's got to be Champo, right?
El Champo.
Oh, El Champo. I had to get it right. I love that you put that. But the last question we have for you is, what are you going to take away from this whole experience? Because Survivor can be a wonderful thing. You get friends for life. You push your body farther than you ever thought you could. What are you going to take away from this entire experience? And then the second part of that question, super simple. Would you play again if they gave you a call?
Okay. So what I always say now that I definitely took away from the Survivor experience is being present and trying to be more present. Because in real life, there's TVs on, there's electricity here, there's a phone in your hand, there's messages beeping here, you got to watch on. That even though we think we're listening to somebody and we're truly present, there's so much really going on that we're never present. When I was sitting on that piece of rock by the fire, eating rice and beans, listening to people, like really listening and speaking and just feeling like in that now, fully present, I think like that's a special feeling that everybody should feel once in their life. And definitely, as much as I can be, I will try to put my phone away and I will try to be present, because the real life is where it's at, and social media and all this other stuff is all a fugazi or fugazi, what they say, you know what I
mean? Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah.
But would you play again?
I would definitely play again. So whether it was what do they call it, the All Stars, or whether it's heroes versus villains, I think me with a better head on my shoulders, who knows more about the game, who could be more strategic moving forward, I think I'm a dangerous guy, So
I don't know. I don't think this is the last time we're gonna see you on Survivor League. I just have a gut. I'm listening to my gut here, but man, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been an absolute pleasure, and best of luck with everything you do, Lee. It was amazing talking to you.
Thank you so much, Randy. God bless, bro, and I'll see you soon, man. Thank you.
See you, man.